So I'm just taking off from the shelter that we got to around 8 something last night. It was probably 8:30. Just filled with rats. I don't stay in shelters anyways. There's very few tent spots. So we kind of hung out for a minute. I was gonna come back. This is the Blue Blaze Trail. It goes down to the shelter. All downhill. I mean, it's all uphill this morning before we even get to the trail. I was gonna come up here last night and keep going. Well, I did my longest day, probably a long time, at least a month. I think I did 26 miles yesterday. We averaged 18 over the last 5 days, which is pretty good. So Luna and Jukebox are having breakfast with Billy Goat and Burrito, and I'm gonna take off because they're not my crowd really. Maybe we'll see them again, maybe not. I think I really have to give a shout out to the Shenandoah trail clubs, whatever, who is ever managing them. And I think actually Jukebox is one of his employees, has an account with them or something. But man, look at how beautiful this is. They've cut the grass on both sides. It's well maintained. It's beautiful visually. Keeps the ticks away, keeps the wet grass off your shoes. Man, it's nice. So I've been reflecting on incidents and events of yesterday. We were taken off trail for a little ways by a police investigation into a missing persons. It ends up that they recovered a body of this missing persons that had committed suicide. And I did get one of the search and rescue workers talking about you know, the trail being open to us. You know, he said there was no reason why we wouldn't be able to get back on it at this point. The investigation's over, body's recovered. I really want people to be aware of suicide. I want to include a suicide prevention hotline number, and you know, to make a judgment or a comment about that situation, it would be beyond something that, you know, I have capability of commenting on that, because I really don't know much about it. But you know, I do want to say this: hopelessness, or thoughts or feelings of hopelessness or helplessness, can leave a person in a really dark place. And you know, I've had the opportunity to talk with some hikers about suicide itself, suicidal thoughts, you know, preventing those things, coping with depression, loss, hopelessness, helplessness. And you know, I just want to make everyone aware that it is something that concerns me. There's some personal things that I've experienced, and I know others have by speaking with them. So I really want to make sure that, you know, this is something that's taken seriously and with a lot of thought. There you have it. There's kind of my take on that situation. And so I just caught up with Point Man a minute ago, who was actually at the camp that I stayed at last night. He's first one out, Point Man, and was asking me where I was going, what was doing for resupply. So we chatted real quick and kind of had the same idea. He's got some packages at the hostel right on trail. That's something where they offer shuttle service into town, and it's a $40 bunk, but you know, it'd only be like 10 miles today. So I wonder if I can still get a shuttle to resupply and just head out from there and get back on the trail tonight. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do, but we know how plans go on trail. They change from minute to minute, step to step. So I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. Make sure if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, like any of the videos that you've been following along, share them with friends, ring the notification button so you get first glimpse at upcoming videos. And Shenandoah National Park, pack it out. Please do not discard your use permit here. Well, where do you discard them? Okay, so that's going south, must be. All right, well, I'm gonna keep mine in my pocket. But we're officially done, looks like, with the backcountry and Shenandoah National Park. It's been real fun. It's been easy, beautiful scenery. A little cold a couple nights, but I don't think it was worth it. So we're gonna be heading to town here soon. So I got a call to Goldilocks on the Far Out app, and she sent me up here to Bob with the Subaru. He's gonna give me a ride into town, so we're gonna go check out base camp, and I'll show you guys that here in a minute. Charlie Brown at base camp. All right. great doing that.
All right.
Just talked to Sarah, she's an awesome artist. Work in progress. Back to the beer garden. All right, so got my phone charged up. It is 5 o'clock. I have currently put 14 miles in today, and to keep up with the average, I would have to put 4 more in, which means 2 more hours. That's again just basically hiking throughout the entire day. I do have to say though, like, this was by far the quickest resupply I've ever done in and out of town. I did the hero, woo woo. So in and out, and still got the mileage in. So I got my resupply, got my shower, got my laundry, got everything done. Got a in-town meal, resupplied at the grocery store, everything packed out. My shuttle in by bill and shuttle out by bill cost a total of $0. Didn't stay at a hostel or a hotel, so again, $0. I did, however, pack out like, I feel like 6 days of food, and it's only 50 miles to Harper's Ferry, so got more than enough food to get me through at least the next 2 or 3 days, which I certainly can do that mileage in that time. So I might just get up here and take it easy, do a big day tomorrow. We'll see. Good morning, welcome back to my channel. It is day 74, I believe. It is May 23rd at 6:06 in the morning. I'm currently at mile marker 975.5. Had camp all to myself today. We're at Mosby Camp. It's an old shelter site. It does have a spring. It's not too bad. Had a fire last night. Cooked up some knockwurst, which are uncured and I have to eat before the end of today. Excited to open them, and they're supposed to stay under 40 degrees. But my hiking partners, Jukebox and Luna, took some time off the trail to attend some family matters, and Plate Man went up to the next shelter last night along with Sunshine, who I met at the outfitter, and I'm sure there's some people that are going to be leaving town this morning to catch up, so I'm going to break down camp here in a little bit and probably be on trail by 7. I'll catch up with you guys here soon. Hopefully something exciting happens today. Until next time. All right, I had a few members ask about what I do in the morning as far as breaking down camp and like how that process goes. So as far as like inside my tent, kind of every night before I go to bed, I do put my rain cover on my bag because it kind of keeps everything nice and neat right inside of it. There's nothing that's sticking outside my bag that's going to puncture a hole or kind of get lost. And I always kind of sit it up against this side so it kind of pushes that side out and gives me some room on either end to put some stuff if I needed to. Sometimes if it's raining I'll bring some things in, shoes, water bottles, things like that. But generally it's just my sleeping pad, my tent, my bag. I do put my clothes bag and puffy and stuff and use that as a pillow. My shoes are down there. Socks are in the stuffed sack, as well as any of the clothes that I wore from yesterday. What's kind of in my bag setup is I always have my sunglasses in there, which I'm probably going to send home because I never wear them anymore. My electronic stuff always sits in there, so if I need to charge or get my headlamp, that's there. My phone usually is underneath my pillow and stuff. Keep a handkerchief in case I need to blow my nose, or hell, even I wipe down my tent and get the condensation off of it too. And I have 2 or 3 of those. But this is the basic setup. Last night I bought too much food, so my fuel and my cook pot were in here. They're usually in my bear canister but didn't fit. My condiments and rehydration heater, I did again get too much food, so I have Fritos there. But other than that, this is pretty much empty and ready to get taken out. So I'll take this rain cover off, and then I'll start packing my bag up first by deflating my pad, and then stuffing my sleeping bag into my main compartment, and then I'll fold up my sleeping pad, roll that up, and stick it in the bottom compartment. From there, it's basically just getting dressed, and I'll usually do that inside my tent unless there's nobody else around. Then I might get out and do it. But for the most part, I get dressed right inside my tent as I'm getting ready. Once the sleeping bag goes in there and I'm dressed, usually I'll throw my bear can in next because that's heaviest, and then I'll throw my clothes bag on top of that. And that's pretty much breaking down camp. Once everything is kind of in the bag, the last thing that go in or on the outside of my bag and get strapped to it is my tent and my ground cover. So that's the last thing. Everything's packed up, shoes are on, dressed. I can get right out, pull my bag out, break down the tent, which is just pulling out the stakes, and then getting rid of the trekking pole. I fold everything in on itself and then roll it up. So hopefully I'll show you some of that. All right, dressed and ready for the day. Socks on. Puffy's still out because it does get cold sometimes in the morning at camp, so that's something I don't pack away. Everything else that needs to stay dry as far as clothes are in my dry sack. And if you guys didn't notice, I do wear my thermals to bed, even in this temperature. It's pretty warm, probably 40s, mid 40s at night, but it does help keep my bag sort of clean and my body from sticking to itself. So I do still put that stuff on every night. It's nice to get out of your other gear and kind of put that stuff away too. So all dressed right now, keeping the puppy out. Stuff sack's got the clothes in it, so that'll be put aside for a second. Next thing I'm going to do is deflate my sleeping bag, or my sleeping pad, and take the sheet off the bottom. So deflating it, this is, oh, it's a sound nobody wants to hear when it's cold out, because that means everybody's got to get up. So right now I'm going to take the rain cover off my bag. I'm going to start stuffing my sleeping bag into that and then roll up my mat. Camp shoes, toilet paper, things like that get stuffed back in the bag, and then kind of just piece things together, you know, as they came out for camp last night. Put them back together, put them back in the bag as they go. So the next thing we're gonna do is roll up our sleeping mat. So as you can tell, I'm sitting down for all of this. There's not much room in here, and I could certainly get out and pull it out right now today, but this is how it normally goes, because usually there's people around, you know, whether you're at a shelter or another camp, and you know, getting dressed privately is nice, and kind of having some privacy with your fly down. Usually I have my fly down, but I have it opened up last night. There's nobody else around and it was nice out. But this is generally how it goes. So I'm gonna roll up my mat, stuff it in the bottom of my bag, and then pack up the rest of that stuff. The pad's rolled up, it'll go in the bottom compartment of my pack, and then I'll shove my sleeping bag down there to fill up the rest of it. The food can goes in next, and then the clothing and anything else I have will go in the other pockets on the outside if I can't fit it. So coming together, get my bag and everything kind of cleaned out. My bag set up, my sneakers go on. It usually takes me about 10 minutes, and then another 5 minutes to break down the tent, and I just roll that up and clip to my bag. Usually don't eat a lot of breakfast. so I can break down camp from the time I wake up and by the time I leave in probably 15 minutes. Today I restarted the fire. I have the knockwurst that I'm gonna cook up for breakfast this morning, and that's going to be my start of the day. So I'll pack things up and catch up with you guys in a minute. Breakfast of champions for hungry hikers. A little knockwurst, bratwurst, one of those two. A wrap with some mustard. Can't get much better.